Today we're making my famous Kamut bread. This is where the love starts for Kamut for you. You're going to understand and see this is such delicious bread. It is so yummy. It's so good for you. This is where it all happens. We are very famous off this recipe, and you'll know why, and you're going to see it, but I can't wait for you to learn. And it's the easiest recipe you will ever make, ever. This is written in my cookbook. Woo! This is the most famous bread recipe and easiest, like I said, you will ever make, but it's all written right here for you. But obviously, I think a lot of us are visual learners. I know I sure am. So wait till I tell you all the tips and tricks. You will have the best bread of your life by the end of this video. We're gonna start with the water temp. This is super important. Now, everybody I ever talk to, they're so afraid to do bread. They're like, I can't do it. Yes, you can. You can do this. This is the easiest bread recipe you'll ever make. But your water temp does matter, okay? If your water is too hot, you're going to kill the yeast. If it's too cold, it's fine, but it will take way longer. And then you'll see you're gonna think my yeast is never gonna go. So what I like to do is I come to the water, I turn it on, because you know how your water, it changes, right? You want it to go for a minute because the temperature could turn really hot when you then fill it up. But what I always tell everybody is you want to test the water on your wrist. It needs to be like a baby's bath, a baby's bottle. If you want to get crazy, you can get the temperature out, but I never do that. You need to learn to make bread all by feel, all by touch. Don't be so critical. Okay, so this is perfect. We're going to take 3 cups because like I said, you don't want this too hot because you're going to kill your yeast. So 3 cups, and then we're going to add our yeast. The yeast is super important, right? As I said before, but my favorite brand of all is Red Star. And I don't know why, but I feel like if you use Red Star yeast, it's bulletproof. So you can go to Costco. They sell this bag. It's super cheap. I would have this honestly as food storage. Like I have multiple bags in my food storage room because, I mean, obviously I'm making a lot of bread, right? But cheap. So what I like to do is after you've already opened it, I make sure to use a clip. This is our little food nanny clip, you know, and then you just clip it off and you double baggie and put it in the freezer. After you've opened it, it can last in your freezer for up to 2 years. 2 years. And when you pull it out of the freezer, because I always get this question, you don't have to wait for it to go to room temp, nothing. It's just ready to go. The beautiful thing about this recipe is that you're adding everything into the bowl. I will teach you another time when you add the yeast into the water and you do that whole thing, but this is just everything's going into the bowl. What we're doing is we're creating a sponge, and the beautiful part about that is that it's actually breaking down the gluten, and so who doesn't want that? So we're going to add our 2 tablespoons of yeast. You're just gonna sprinkle it on top of your water. We're gonna mix it, but you're going to see how instantly there's bubbles. It's good. This is why your water temperature is super, super important. If it's too hot, it's gonna kill it. It's gonna kill it. Now we're gonna add the honey. Now you divide it up in the recipe, and I get told sometimes they feel like it's too sweet. I don't know if that's such a thing for me. I love all the honey. So if you want to add less honey, of course you can, but this is the way that I do it, and I think that it tastes the best. The way I wrote the recipe. So we're gonna add 1/3 cup of the honey. You're just adding all of it directly into your bowl. Okay. You can even add the spoon, you know. We're just throwing things in, right? Oh my heck, I'm getting honey on my bangs. But let's just talk about this. This is a Danish dough hook. It is the best kitchen tool you will ever use for making bread, cakes, cookies, everything. You will see me using this in every single video that I do. The Danish just figured it out. They did it right. And now we have been making these here in the US. There's a guy that makes them, and it's the best. It's like a wooden spoon in a whisk all in one. And you'll see how that when you make bread, when you make your cookies and everything, it just mixes like a dream. It mixes like a dream. Now we're gonna just add the flour. So as I say, I like to keep my Kamut flour in my glass jar. It's just easy, it's accessible, right? But you wanna make it light and airy before you measure your cup. We're not doing the knife and leveling it off. No, that is not the way we do it. You just want to get it light and airy, and then you shake it. That's the perfect cup right there. Now we're going to add, okay? And the thing about bread recipes, which I'll tell you later on, I'm going to show you with the texture. A recipe with flour is just giving you an eyeball amount of what you should add. But depending on the weather, depending on your house, you just have to take it easy because some days you might add more flour, some days you might need less. I could make this recipe in 10 minutes, the exact same, and I might need more. It just depends the way you measure, weather, your house, and you have to make sure that your kitchen is nice and warm when you're making bread, at least 72 degrees. You can't have it cold. It's not happy when it's cold, okay? It needs warm, at least 72 degrees. And I don't have that problem because this is a 40-year-old house with no AC, and so it's always warm. It's always nice and warm, and I always have a fire going. We've had our third cup, but what you're gonna notice is when you're making the sponge, you want this to be on the stickier end, okay? So it's gonna be perfect. Now we've got our fourth cup. We're just gonna mix it up. Look how simple. This is easy. I'm so sick of hearing that I cannot do bread. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, and you will. And there is nothing better than the smell of homemade bread coming out of your oven. So this is perfect. See how it's sticky at this point? This is what we want. Now, when we go to the next step, we don't want it sticky, but this step we do. So you're done. This is it for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're gonna either cover with plastic, but you just wanna make sure that you cover this well. These are my new beeswax covers. I mean, look how cute that is. So we're gonna cover, and then we're gonna come back in about 20, 25 minutes. The recipe calls for butter or oil. 99% of the time, I'm always doing melted butter. And normally it's my fresh cow's butter, but today I'm not doing that. So you just wanna put it on the stove. We're gonna melt this, 3.5 tablespoons, so easy. And then we're gonna add it to our sponge with more honey and salt and more flour. The butter is melted, so let's come and check on the sponge now because it's been about 25 minutes. Oh yeah, look at this. Look how perfect that is. That means we had a happy yeast, okay? It was all good. So now we're going to add all of the ingredients. We're gonna add the melted butter. Okay, look at this. Now we're gonna add the rest of our honey, another 1/3 cup of honey. Ooh, this is real fresh and real thick right here, yum. And then the next important thing, which you cannot make this bread without my salt. Our French salt, so we have literally tried every salt in the world, not kidding, and this is the best. It's over 2,000-year-old salt. It's made by the clay, the sun, and the wind that comes from France. Out in Brittany, it's wet, it's coarse, but it will melt in your breads, and then in your cookies and stuff, you get this delicious crunch. And I tell you, this marriage right here is more beautiful than anybody's real marriage. You cannot do one without the other. Promise. Now we're going to add the salt. Ugh, can't do it without this salt. Now we're gonna mix. Look at that. So it's gonna go down. Look how perfect this is. Now this is where you need to be careful on not adding too much flour. If your bread is ever too dense and you feel like this wasn't yummy, this wasn't soft, this wasn't fluffy, it was like a brick, you added too much flour. It's not the recipe. You added way too much flour. So this is where you need to learn. I always say you add until your bread comes away from the bowl, and then you're gonna start kneading. So we're gonna add about another cup, and this is why this tool is just the best. You get a real feel for how much you should be adding, okay? So we're just gonna take it slow. Don't add every cup that the recipe tells you to, okay? So we're just gonna keep adding. That was 2. We're just gonna keep taking it slow. All about the eye, the texture. You'll know when it's perfect. Nope, we still need a little bit more, but that's the thing. Bread is not yummy when it's dry and it's like a brick. You want it soft, you want it delicious. And this is how you do it. We're almost there. We are almost there. When you do a KitchenAid, which sometimes I do, you just have to be careful because those mixers, they suck flour like crazy. Like you'll continually think that you need to add. And I think that's what everybody's problem normally is you want to use your Bosch or the KitchenAid. And sometimes I do, but really this is the way you need to do it. It needs to be by hand because you really do get a better feel for the texture. And you'll notice that. Okay, so this is good. This is starting to come away from the bowl. It's still a little bit sticky, but this isn't gonna be sticky and all over your hands, okay? It's perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out on the counter. Now you wanna be careful to not add too much flour on your surface because that in a recipe, it all comes into play. What the recipe is now telling you, you're adding the flour from here as well. So just know that that's a part of the measurements, okay? So we're gonna take it out. Look how easy and simple. Gonna put up my black shirt, you know, I love to cook in my nice clothes. That's what I do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is you need to now knead fast. It's not slow. As we like to laugh and say, you need to get your hands in the dough. Don't be afraid of it, but you've gotta go quickly, okay? So what I like to do, the way I like to knead is you take a corner, you fold over, you push with the palm of your hand and turn. And you're doing this process fast. And what you're looking for is you want the dough to just be a nice, I'm gonna add just a little bit more, pliable dough. When it stops sticking to your counter surface, that's when you know that you have enough. But if you're going too slow, which most of you do, I love you, but most of you do, and then you're sending me videos and you've got dough that's up to your elbows, I don't know. I don't know how we're doing that. We need to go fast, but kneading this way is the best. Fold a corner, push, turn, just like this. And look at this, perfection. Now the recipe, we're still just gonna add just a tiny bit more. The recipe says to knead for about 5 minutes. Yeah, you need to do it. You can have a break, but this is my arm workout. I don't go to the gym. I make bread. This is what I do, okay? These are your weights and lifting because your arms will start to be on fire. I've never been asked about my muscles, but if I ever am, I'm gonna say, just kneading that Kamut bread, guys. Just kneading that bread. Look how good. Perfection. Okay, we're not gonna really show what I use because some of you don't like it, but you gotta spray the bowl or put some olive oil. Look at this great. Dip the top, flip it over. Now we're gonna cover again for about another 20-25 minutes. That's it. I have been against these wraps for many years because I've never liked them. I don't know, I felt like they didn't really stick, they didn't work. So I've always just used plastic, but I have to say I have fallen in love with this cute girl that's making these locally in Utah from her bees. So it's a beeswax wrap and they're reusable and it's never losing its stickiness either. So it's so perfect to cover with your bowls. And if you get dough on it, you just rinse it under the sink and it comes clean. I love it. And look at the cute patterns. I could die, it's so cute. So it's one of many things that I sell at my store and online. I only sell and talk about what I absolutely love, and I'm sorry, it's so good. On our handmade bowls too. Hello, it's kitchen art. Now this is gonna sit again for another 20-25 minutes, and then we're gonna shape and put it into our bread pans. It's gonna be perfect. That's it, I have the funnest idea ever. All of the dough hooks that are in my kitchen are the OG original prototype that have like screw ups, little tiny cracks in them, but you know what? They mean a lot to me. I'm gonna give one of you one of the OG ones because this means this has been in my kitchen. I've been using this for years. It's been touched by me. So comment your Instagram handle below and I'm gonna draw and just pick one of you randomly. The bread has now been rising, so now we get to the fun part where we get to shape the loaves. And for years now, and the way that I wrote the recipe in my book is I love mini size. I think it's the perfect for it stays fresh, right? Like the mini stays fresh longer. I love that it's for portion control. It's the perfect little size. And I think it's the perfect little size to give away too. So I'm obsessed with the mini. You can make 2 large, 3 medium, or 6 mini. We are so close to our own mini bread pans because you can't even find the size that I love and I'm obsessed with. These are from Europe, but anyways, we're very close. We're buying a machine, so it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I'm so excited. And this is a fun like prototype that we did with copper, and I just love using it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna divide into 6 minis. I'm gonna add just a little bit of flour, but at this point, your dough does not need it. You do not need to be adding more flour because this is where you could just add more. I mean, look at that dough. Look at this dough. So you just want to do like a quick knead. But if you add too much flour again, then we've over added and then it's dense. Look, it's not sticky. It's perfect. But we're just going to add a tiny bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to divide into 6 mini with the dough scraper. You can't make bread without a dough scraper. It's clean up all of it. Then I like to weigh. This is the only time, well, actually that's not true. In sourdough I do, so what am I talking about? But most of the time, I'm not weighing my bread, but if you want it to look even and perfect, which I get to be a little bit of a perfectionist, you want these to be under 11 ounces for this size of pan, okay? So we're just gonna check, that's 12. I could already tell that it was too big. But it doesn't matter what it is. This is 10.3. It doesn't have to be the exact. You just want it under 11 ounces, okay? And this is where I shape my bread. You want to pinch, pinch, pinch all the way around. That's what then gives you like a shape, makes it a little prettier. Then you tuck in the sides. You're folding over the top. It's like a roll fold. Push it over, okay? And then you just want to roll it out a little bit. And this is where, this is therapy. That gets the air bubbles out, which it seems so funny, but I promise you it works. So now we're going to spray our pans again. Use olive oil spray. I know, but we're not going to talk about it. It works for me. So then you're gonna put it into your pan, just like this, and we're gonna do it again. So that's a little too small. Just 10 ounce something, okay? This is 10.5, that's fine. We're just gonna take a little bit of flour, which you don't really need, but I'm just trying to show you that don't over add it. Pinch, pinch, pinch. You're making it pretty, you're giving the shape, you're tucking in the sides, you're folding, you're rolling like this, and then the slap. Oh, that feels good. That feels super good, okay? There really is a purpose to that. I don't know if I made that up just for myself, but there really is. There's a purpose. So we're just gonna continue to do this to get 6 mini loaves. Okay? Roll. Perfect. Because I over add on some, that one's gonna be small, I can already tell. I bet that's not even 10 ounces. And it's because today, the weather, we didn't need to add all the flour, right, to our recipe. Just don't be so critical. It doesn't need to be. The only thing you need to really care about is the texture so that you have a soft, yummy bread. Because like, look, it's not even 10 ounces, but it's okay. It's fine. Sometimes you'll have a little bit extra, just depending on the day. And I added a lot in that one. So after they're sprayed, they're in the pans. This is what you need. I love this dishcloth. You don't want too thick of a towel. This is a flour sack, so I love it for the reason of making bread. This is the way my mom taught me many, many years ago. It's just light enough. You don't want too heavy of a towel, okay? And it's not gonna stick and get on, it won't. It won't do that. If your bread is perfect, like mine just was, it will be perfect. So then we'll show you, we're gonna let it rise, but I'll show you the trick, how you know when to put it in the oven. these are now ready to be checked. So let me show you how you know your bread is ready to go into the oven. So you want to take your finger and just do a poke test and see how the indent has stayed in the bread. It's not coming out back at you. It's ready. So let's go put these in the oven. You want to make sure that you put your bread on the bottom rack, or this one is so close to the bottom on my oven. Bread does best on the bottom rack. It gets it cooked, baked, perfection. So the only trick that I came up with when we wrote this recipe is a lot of bread, when you put it in the oven, it will deflate. And so set it to 400 degrees. And then once your bread is in the oven, you turn it down to the 350. This is a hot tip that has helped so many, and your bread then doesn't just go the minute you put it into the oven. The way you know your bread is done, I had to move it up because I'm trying to do the turkey rolls, but your bottoms are light brown, just like this. If you don't see your bread and it's light brown on the bottom, it's not done. You'll never have it gooey or, what's the texture thing I'm trying to say? Not gooey, gummy. If your bottoms are light brown, it's never going to be gummy in the middle. Ever. It's perfect, it's done. Take them out of the pans, put them on a cooling rack. If you let it sit in the pan, then it's going to get, the moisture, it's just not gonna be good, right? So let it sit on a cooling rack. Now I tell you in the recipe, you can brush them with butter on top, or you don't. It depends on what you would like to do. But this is what I normally like to do because I want more butter. So I just like it while it's hot. I like to brush the tops. Like I said, you don't have to. Do what you want. But come on, this bread. Oh, it's like you can't resist. Wait till I cut into this and show you what it looks like on the inside. Now let's do the best part. We're cutting into this bread. Come on, look at the cuteness of it. It's just the perfect size. I can't stop making this size. Here we go. Who does not love hot, homemade, fresh bread? The smells that come from your kitchen and when your kids walk in that door, when my kids get home from school today, they are gonna be so happy that there is hot, fresh bread. And now, lots of butter. Where's my cow's butter? I need my cow's fresh butter on it, but I ran out, so I need to make more. Lots of butter. Yeah, judge how much. You gotta put a lot on there. Look at the inside. See how it's soft? Look at this. This is the kind of texture you want. Perfect. So light, so airy. Oh my. Never gets old. Never. You've never had better bread. I can promise you that. Wow, I'm in heaven. Tons of butter. Once again, I wish you could have some of this. I always want everybody in the kitchen. I'm like, I'll feed you. Literally, I feed you, but this is heaven. Thank you again for watching. I hope this helped. I tried to think of the tips and tricks that I know that I get asked all the time, but truly, please stop thinking that bread is so hard to make. It's not. You can do this. It's very easy, and you won't believe how delicious it is. It really is the kamut and the salt. You have to have the marriage. You will be hooked for life. Hooked for life. Could you smell the bread when you walked in? Ooh, look how yummy. London, come on. Look how yum. Best bread in the world, right?
I know. People are missing out.
I know. Gotta be making that bread.